So welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and I'm a gorilla in the wrist. Today we're doing my 5 picks from the Summer Carnival or the Choice Day or whatever the hell this sale is called. But I'm going to do it slightly differently this time. What we're going to look at is 5 brands that I haven't necessarily covered or owned. And also, if I could ask you to subscribe to the channel, that would be fantastic. So first up, we have this Proxima PX700. Now, Proxima is a brand that I've heard so many good things about, and it's amazing that I haven't got round to getting one in to review and wear so far. This one comes in a couple of colorways, and also comes with a couple of bezel options. So there is this interesting dark blue, but the one that I was really taken and slightly smitten by was the very pale blue. A really nice looking watch. I'm not a big fan of the fluted bezels. This one's a 39mm, has the PT5000 movement, which is pretty good. It's got 20mm lug widths, stainless steel and 100 meters water resistance. Also has BGW9. This is the one I would go for. I really like this 39mm case, bubble glass, and a dial that has some really interesting texture to it. As I say, not a big fan of the fluted bezels, a bit too Rolex for me. Not that I have a problem with Rolex, obviously. And the dark blue one is quite pleasant as well. But £144 for a watch with a PTS 5000 movement seems very reasonable to me. The finishing on this watch looks really good. I've included the loom shot. The loom looks particularly good as well. So for me, I think this one has a lot going for it. Something that I'm thinking about. That dial texture is just absolutely amazing. I love the ice crystal effect. It's not meteorite or anything like that, but this has one of those on-the-fly adjustable clasps as well. I just think at that money for a brand which delivers on good quality, this is something worth considering. So second up on my list today is this mysterious code homage to the IWC Ingenieur, a watch that I'm a huge fan of. This one is coming in at a really good price, around £45. Just a really smart looking watch. I love the integrated bracelet. Normally I'm slightly anti, because I kind of like to put my own twist and I feel that it is slightly cramping, but on this one, it looks so good that I could probably live with that. This one comes in a number of different colorways. So we have the green dial, and I find that green is really nice. I love the patination on the dial as well. I think that's really impressive. This one is a 40mm dial, has the VH31 movement on it, and does come in a variety of different colours. So it comes in this white, there's a silver version. That's the one I'm probably the most keen on. The green, there is this black version, which isn't bad either, I have to say. But I'm not a fan of what I call the summer colour versions. So the yellow, the lilac and the orange, as nice as they are in terms of brightness. For me, I think it's probably either the white dial or the silver dial. In fact, I think it's probably the white dial for me. I just really like that nice clean colouring on a big wide face, with the integrated bracelet. Also seems to have reasonable loom. Not brilliant, but reasonable. And the finishing for a £45 watch on this looks particularly good. They've branded it reasonably well. We are going to talk a little bit about the branding because I really don't like the name. Mysterious Code is all a bit Enid Blyton, and I love Enid Blyton. For those who don't know, she's a writer of children's books. But this is just all a bit Enid Blyton for me. I think it's worth reflecting that of all the people that have bought it, they've all loved it. Every single one has given it a 5-star review. So it must have something going for it. I'm not sure magnificent is the word I would use, but this is what people genuinely thought about it. So for me, this watch with a sapphire crystal, a bit of a no-brainer, really. So third on my list today is this Seastern Sub 600T, clearly an homage to the Doxa. But decent movement, H35, a ceramic bezel, sapphire crystal. They've sold a few of these and people seem to like them. The price at 117.51 is pretty good as well, although hang on to the end of this part of the video because I found it even cheaper. A really nice looking watch. Again, they don't get credit for design, but I think that ceramic bezel is really, really good. And I do like the dark blue. I think the contrast between the orange hands and the orange pops of colour on the bezel are just fantastic. The orange one is really good. Not a fan of the aluminium bezel and does remind me a little bit of the 300, which I got the Bulgari design version of. But a really good looking watch in a huge range of different colours. Pricing varies dependent on whether you go for the aluminium bezel or the ceramic bezel. Personally, I think the ceramic bezel looks good, and I'm quite partial to the dark blue. Although the silver is interesting, I think just doesn't quite have the same level of contrast as some of the others. But a really good looking watch, solid movement, good looking bracelet, finishing looks good, sapphire crystal. This one's got a lot going for it. And again, I've heard so many good things about the brand. Never got round to buying one. So I think this is certainly a serious contender, one that I need to look at. So we'll have a quick look at the specifications on this one. So Seiko NH35, stainless steel, sapphire crystal, 40mm, so a wearable size, quite hefty at 175 grams, but 200 meters of water resistance, a standard bracelet clasp. Comes in at 48mm lug to lug. I particularly like the loom. I particularly like the loom to date wheel. Very, very unusual. And of all the reviews, they score pretty well. Even the 4-star reviews, it isn't entirely clear to me why they only got 4 stars. I think minor complaints about the time it's taken to shipping, which seems a little bit harsh, I think. But clearly this is a well-received watch. And again, the brand is one that does have a bit of cachet to the name. So I did find this watch slightly cheaper at £86, but they didn't have the full range. And sadly, they didn't have the dark blue one that I was interested in, but worth considering nonetheless. So next up on my list was this rather dressy Milardo ML01. Comes in a number of different colourways. But at £55, this comes with the Seiko VD78 movement with the small seconds. They've sold 34 of them, and the people who have bought them seem to like them. So always a good starting point for me. In terms of what you get for your money, there are some interesting colourways. I do like the orange, but I am very, very partial to the blue. I think the visibility on that particular one is absolutely fantastic. And I am a sucker, as you will all know, for a vintage style dive. Just one of those things that really does it for me. But this one comes in a range of colours and strap options. As I say, the finishing looks reasonable at a watch this price. One thing I was slightly curious about is the brand name for a dress watch seems a bit odd. Milardo very clearly is about military watches, and this has the sort of look, but it's a bit dressy. As you say, plenty of good colour options, I think. The white is really nice, but silver hands against the white dial is not always a great combination, in my experience. And the dark one, the black one, I think is particularly good as well. But for me, I have to say the one that I was really interested in was that really interesting, visible blue dial. So next we wanted to talk a little bit about the specifications. So this is a smaller watch. So it comes in, the dial comes in at 36mm, lug to lug at 43, 44. So this is going to wear smallish. Because it does have that VD68 movement in it, it's going to wear quite thin at 37, 38, at 11mm. But as you can see from the reviews that it's got, people do genuinely seem to like it as an inexpensive option. And even if you look at the scores of 2, when you read the comments, I suspect somebody has just picked the incorrect score. But reviews generally very good. People clearly like this watch. And so my last wander off into the unknown stays with this 50 Fathoms homage, currently been sold on the Heimdall watch store. This is a watch dive watch. This is the WD-50. Now, I don't have a 50 Fathoms homage in my collection. And also, just to be aware on this one, the £73 price only has a K1 mineral crystal on it. If you want the sapphire crystal, then you're looking at a price closer to 100. And so it does come down to choice. If you can live with mineral crystal, that's fine. Absolutely go for it. But this one is a really interesting homage to the 50 Fathoms. It comes on a variety of dials, types, and has a variety of straps as well. Some really interesting. I am slightly partial to that brown-looking NATO. And there is something very odd about the one with the radiation dial. But the loom on these is really interesting, and certainly on that radiation one, a really, really good look to it with a really decent amount of loom, almost multicolored loom on the bezel as well. So I think this is a really interesting watch. At £100, go and see if you can find yourself a coupon, see if you can get it cheaper. But for me, I like this. I like the style of it, and because I don't have one in my collection already, it's worth doing. So in terms of the specifications, it's an NH35, has 120 click ceramic bezel, comes with sapphire crystal or K1 mineral, water resistant up to 300 meters, has a screw down case back and crown, and a case diameter of 40 millimeters. So this is a reasonable size watch. Why 19 millimeters? Why?